Hi, welcome to Let's Do Books. I'm Tara, and you can email me at tara@thelesbianreview.com with any questions or comments, or come join our Facebook group, the Lesbian Review Book Club. I'm joined today by April, one of our fabulous reviewers at the Lesbian Review. Welcome, April.
Hi, Tara. Hi, everyone.
So, April, you're here today because you want to share with our listeners why you love reading lesbian romance so much. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, I sure could. The thing about me, right? I read a whole variety of books. I don't just stay to one genre, right? But romance, you see, romance, it definitely is one of my favorite genres of all time, beside mystery and thrillers. I love romance because romance was the first set of lesbian books that I've ever read. And it made me feel so at home in my lesbianism because romance actually made lesbian romance for me something that was normal in a culture that is heteronormal, because everybody is in a heterosexual relationship. And here I come in the Caribbean, in Trinidad and Tobago, a very small island where lesbianism wasn't spoken about at that time when I first realized I was gay. It's like, oh my God, I'm at 16 and I'm panicking. Well, what now? Here it is, I'm a lesbian. I realize I like women and I was scared. And the first time a friend from in the US, she shipped me some books, Ruby Fruit Jungle, different books. And I got my hands on the first romance lesbian book ever by Radley. And I was like, oh my God, these women are just like me and you. They're flesh and blood women who love women. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're not sick, they're not twisted like society wants to deem us. And romance for me made me really have an easier time accepting being a lesbian. Because I thought I was doomed to a life of loneliness. It's like, okay, I'm not seeing my other friends talking about, loving girls or being in love with them. And here I am like, okay, I want to kiss girls. But I'm not seeing that being validated by anybody else in society. So lesbian, especially romance, really brought out the lives of these women. I laughed, I cried along with reading some of these books, knowing that, hey, this is a human condition. They go through heartbreak, they go through everything that you and I go through. And it was really refreshing to know that these writers reached out to me. Writers like Melissa Braden and Georgia Bear, all of these women, and they didn't just show up the romance alone, they showed them in different professions where you could relate and say, hey, these women do these type of jobs and they still find time for romance. So at the end of the day, lesbian romance has a special place in my heart. It always will, because I saw myself, hey, I'm a regular girl next door, and these women are almost like me. I could relate to them. So that's why I love it so much. Yes.
So what was that first Radcliffe book that you read?
The first Radcliffe book I read was Secrets in the Stone. And I read that book and I was like, wow, it had a supernatural twist, but it also was a romance as well. And this is why I love romance so much, because it blends in any genre. It could go anywhere. You have romantic intrigue, romantic thrillers. Mostly each book you read has an element of romance in it. So the romantic books and the romantic industry actually upholds all of literature, actually, in a way. Because a lot of people love happily ever afters. If there's not a happily ever afters, you have some grumpy readers. They want to see their characters happy. And this is, you can't get away from that. They really want to see they want to see these protagonists, these people in the book actually have a good ending.
Absolutely. So. I'm the same way. Like, you can't market a book and say it's a romance and then they don't end up together. That's a really good way to just make people super angry.
Yeah, because you're going to see those angry views coming out in the reviews like, well, what happened here? What went on? I thought this person was going to end up with the girl. I mean, at the end of the day, they're supposed to ride off in the sunset with the girl. They're leaving without her?
So that's a perfect segue, because you have a few books that you want to share that all have the girl riding into the sunset with the other girl.
Oh yes, indeed.
So what's the first one you want to talk about?
All right, my first book is Courting the Countess by Jenny Frame. And just so y'all know, I really love Jenny Frame's books, because there is butch and femme element to her books, and you all know that I love butch women, you know? Okay. So I'm not going to stray down that alley, but you all know that. I appreciate them. And I really love Henrietta, also known as Harriet. So this is Countess Harry, but her real name was Henrietta. I still love calling her Harry more. And Annie. Oh gosh, Annie is such a sweetheart.
I adore her.
I really, really adore Annie. Because, I mean, oh Lord, she just made the whole place a home. She brought life, love, everything. You know, she took a mortar, brick, old building and she put some warmth into it. She took up the whole place.
And then she did it to Harry too.
Yeah, she softened Harry, and that's the power of love. That's the power of romance. And that's what romance is supposed to do, soften us as human beings. You know? And at the end of the day, that's what romance is like for me.
So, can you talk a little bit about what Courting the Countess is about?
Okay, so Courting the Countess is about Harry inheriting the estate, right, at Axdale Hall. She inherits this estate through her father's death, right? Even though she had a really strong love-hate relationship with her father was her father anyway, and his death affected her. Her childhood especially, all of her past experiences and everything, they just made her who she was. And she hardened her heart against love, against life, everything. And then on the opposite side of the coin, she meets Annie. And Annie came as a housekeeper, professional housekeeper, in tow with a child. And we all know somebody whose heart is kind of hardened against love, it doesn't stand a chance in the face of a child. Because children have a way of softening you, whether you like it or not. You end up melting like an ice cream in the hot sun. Yep. So Annie and her son, oh my God, they brought so much love and light and laughter to her. Even though she wanted nothing to do with that property, Annie made it a home, and Annie made that a place for her to want to go to. It was like her safe harbor. It's like she could always find safety with Annie. When other people didn't understand and Harry was misunderstood a lot by the villagers, Annie actually brought her back into the village, back to her responsibility and her duties. And I really love that about the book.
Yeah. Her daughter Riley is ridiculously adorable too. Because she's like a little mini Harry.
Yes, and that's what I found so endearing. Is like, wow, this child is so much like her. And her formative years, even though Harry wasn't there to form her opinion, she was so much like Harry. And I found that really, really, really touching. So she had no choice in that matter but to love that kid. Just reading the book, I love that child as well. So
good. So, because we talked about you only talking about 3 books, because I mean, there's so much amazing romance out there. We could actually probably record a podcast for 3 weeks and we wouldn't cover all of the great romances novels out there. So what made you choose this book to include?
What made me choose this book to include? I went through about 2 weeks of sitting down with all the romances that I've read, and I was like, asking me to choose my 3 favorite romances was like asking me to choose between children that I love. It's like, oh my God, I'm going through my Kindle and I'm saying, but I want to include several of them. And when I realized my list included 20 books, I'm like, April, you're ridiculous. You need to cut this number down. You have a podcast coming up in a few days with Tara. You can't tell you have 20. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make up my mind and make a decision. And these 3 books that I chose are books that touch me deeply, books that I have read a long while ago and they still stuck with me. And there are also books that I could relate to on a personal level. I see some part of myself in the books and the characters. Because with Annie loves to cook. And I love to cook. So when I saw this aspect in Annie, I was like, oh my God, and I have a daughter as well. So here it is, my daughter, this little precocious girl called Nakia. And she reminds me a little bit of Riley. She speaks her mind freely. I'm the mother, I love to cook. And, I just had to say to myself, wait a minute, I have to choose this book because I'm seeing some of myself in Annie. Not all, I'm not that sociable going out into the people place and be like, hey, let's go here, let's go there. I'm not super social, but that aspect of the warmth and me cooking and keeping a house and making it a home, that is me. I see myself there.
And it's just such a delicious Thawing Ice Queen book because Jenny Frame just does an amazing job with thawing ice queens.
Yes, she does. She does. I love the whole aspect of the romance. No two books by her are the same.
No.
They're all different. And I love the fact that she always includes a lovely butch character in her story.
Oh yeah. They're so, oh my god. And they're all delicious. Like Dale from Unexpected was wonderful. And have you read Charming the Vicar yet?
Yes, I have. Oh my god, that vicar. I was really happy. I was really happy when Bridge got her story because I'm like, oh, it's on another level. I'm like, this is a vicar. I'd go to church every week. If she were in my parish, I'd be going to church every week. I'm faithful. I'm going every week.
That's right.
I'll never skip a service.
I'm almost done. I've been listening to it. I think I have maybe half an hour left. And it is so good. So for people that love Harry and Annie, and if you liked Bridget and their story, you're going to want to pick up that one too, I think.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Pick it up, read it, enjoy it, devour it. Make sure you have nowhere to go or nothing to do because once you start, you're not going to want to get up from there and you might be annoyed to know that, hey, my reading time was interrupted. So tell relatives, hey, I'm reading. I'm booked for the weekend.
That's right. Booked. Get it? That was not a good joke. Okay. So what is the next book that you want to talk about?
Oh, the next book I want to talk about is Right Here, Right Now by Georgia Beers. And I love this book. I know I'm being biased, right? I really know the biasness is there because Lacey Chamberlain and Alicia Wright are both lovely characters, adorable women. But you see, Lacey is a CPA. That's a certified professional accountant. And I am an accountant and I just love my numbers as well as books. Odd, people may find it, but I can't differentiate between the two. I just love reading and I love writing, the spoken word and everything. So it fell in hand for me to love reading and numbers. And seeing Lacey's character being portrayed in that book. I mean, oh my God, I saw some of my personality in that character. It's like she parks in the same spot every day. She does stuff by rote every day. She has a routine. And I'm like, April, this is you. This is you. You have a time to get up, a time to go to sleep, a time to feed your pets, a time to do everything. And I portion out my time like that. I know I'm anal, but I can't help myself.
It is what it is. So, can you share what this one's about?
Okay, this one is about these two awesome women. Lacey is in charge of her father's firm, right? She took over when her father retired, so she is doing the accountant work for his clients and some new clients that she has. She received new clients by putting herself out there, and she has been working along with her father side by side for a few years before he retired. And the beautiful thing about that book is it's showing you how love could actually make you become spontaneous. She was never a spontaneous woman. And from meeting this charming, delightful character called Alicia, right? I mean, Alicia kind of broke a lot of molds, broke her way into her heart. And Alicia came with her marketing company and shook up her world, literally shook it up. Here comes Alicia with loud music. She comes with a whole host of staff here who are really, they're different. You see different characters and some of them are likable and some are not. Oh God, there's a character, he who shall not be named, that I just did not like in that book. He really got me. He irked me. He was rude on all levels and he will not be named. But I really love the fact that Alicia challenged Lacey. She was like, hey, let's go out during the weekdays. Let's do something. And Lacey's like, but it's a weekday. I have work. I'm tied to this. I'm tied to doing this. And she's like, well, no, you have to enjoy yourself a little bit. Don't mind that it's tax season. Time to get out there. The work will always be there, but these moments won't be. And she'd surprise her in the office with food. She would win over her secretary with treats every morning. And I was just adoring this whole story. And there's a cute puppy. So basically, I love puppies. Although I can't have one in the apartment with me, but I love them. I do. So this book really made me conscious of something called mindfulness. Be right here, right now. Stop thinking about the future. Stop worrying about the past. Actually enjoy the person who you are with right here, right now. Be in the moment. Just do it. According to Nike, just do it.
That's right. We're not gonna pay them for using their slogan.
Well, that's right. I hope it's not too copyrighted because I used it here.
I know. That was one of my favorite books last year because it's just so good and they have such amazing chemistry, and that first sex scene between them,
oh god,
it's ridiculous. It's so good.
Yes, it is. It's so good. I was like, oh my god, Georgia Bears has my heart. I just love the hell out of that book.
Oh, me too. So, what's the last one that you want to talk about?
All right, the last one I want to talk about is Journey's End by Amanda Radley. And this is the third book in the Flight series with Olivia and Emily. And I really, really love this book as well. I know I'm going to be biased and I'm going to hear from now until all of eternity. But she is also a financial genius. She ran her own company. Yes, and she's good at numbers. And I also love her, even though she falls on the autistic spectrum. She just has a genius about her. Even though she is not, she cannot differentiate certain emotions and certain nuances with people, she at least has a way of just reaching to the matter, solving a problem, and going back to real life. That's Olivia. She just likes to solve a problem as though it's a math, something to work out like math, And that was one of her faults as well as one of her greatest assets. Because Olivia sees things that other people don't see. She will look at something in a different way. And Emily came to realize and respect that about her. They went through a whole lot throughout this series. From the Flight series, the first one, to Grounded, to Journey's End. They went through a whole lot. And I respect Olivia and Emily because they fought to make it work. And this is what romance, again, comes around to. Fighting to make things work rather than discarding a relationship because things get too hard. And I love the way that Amanda brought real life situations into these stories to show you, hey, not because I got the girl and I rode off into the sunset in one of the series means that it's going to be smooth sailing afterwards. There are many things to overcome with love. And when you're dealing with love, romance, you're dealing with human nature, which is not perfect. And you have to recognize, okay, this person is not perfect. How am I going to deal with their imperfections? How am I going to deal with what goes with being in love with this person? Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I respected about this story.
So with it being the third in a series, are you able to say what it's about?
Yes, I can say what it's about. It's about, this story comes up with Olivia being retired from her company because her father, her grandparents, all of them, they built up this company from the ground up. But because of office politics and people want to undermine her and everything, she ended up having to retire from the job. You understand? So she had to leave it in the hands of a dear friend, who I will not mention because I don't want to give spoilers. She left it with a dear friend who decided to run the firm for her. So she had to step down in order to save her own firm because she put others in front of herself. She didn't want her staff to be without jobs. Because these people are relying on it. These people have been there for 10, 20 years. And, it's really hard to leave a job after all that time, spending it, have mortgage payments, everything, and just lose everything. So she decided, okay, it's just me losing out. I'll step down so that others wouldn't have to. So I looked up to her then when she did that. And this story is also about following your dreams, right? Emily has a dream. She actually wants to be a scriptwriter. She wrote beautiful plays and all of that. And having come from a place of no money, poverty, this is a rich girl, poor girl romance, by the way. She had no money. She really felt weird just, relying on Olivia for everything because Olivia, well, she comes from a lot. She comes from a rich family. She has trust funds set up in her name. So the thing is, how do you go up against that? Olivia's wealth is vast, whereas she came with none. And she felt, she really felt inferior to Olivia. And even though they are in love, could this inferiority be diminish because, okay, they said, I'm with you, I'm in love with you. Could love do away with those feelings? No. Because for somebody to say yes to a relationship and then she's thinking about what others might think, they might think I'm with her only because she has money. Are they thinking, well, I'm a gold digger? These are the thoughts that went through her mind. And then she came to a conclusion that, hey, I'm going to be successful in script writing because I want to make a name for myself so that others will see that I'm worth it, that I deserve this relationship. And she wanted to feel like she deserved to be with Olivia. So it was a kind of way of being the great evening out. So she wanted to do that. And Olivia, again, I have to say, I really admire Olivia because Olivia decided again to put someone else first. And she wanted to put her needs and wants on the end so that Emily could have her dream. She actually just was like, okay, you want to go after this script writing, you want to go and travel and do what you need to do to make a name for yourself, fine, travel, make a name for yourself while I stay home and watch Henry. And she did that. So imagine, she's got her kid seeing about Emily's son while Emily gets to go off and live her dream. And seeing your lover, your spouse, at snatches at a time, phone calls, emails, is kind of tough on any relationship, whether you're together 10 years, 5 months, it doesn't matter. But because you can't just reach out physically and hug them when you need them, or you're loneliness, that's one of the human conditions we can't get away from. And imagine this, so someone like Olivia now, who really, really has nothing there to do at that time, and she's there like, okay, I'm retired from my job, what's next? I have to see about Henry, and my spouse is gone, trying to fulfill her dream, what's next? And it was really kind of rough, but I admired the way she still was able to bridge that gap, still able to make things work for both of them and for the child as well.
Sounds like it's a really beautiful book.
Yep, and I'm making sure not to give away spoilers. I'm keeping it general.
Good for you, because I was also still able to follow you, even though I haven't read any of the books in the series yet.
It is worth it. It's really worth it, because when you start with the Flight series, the very first book, you'll see how they have evolved over time, and both of them have grown tremendously. Both of them. Olivia has grown, and she has tried to have a more understanding, and she could empathize with Emily's feelings. Because at first, money was of no consequence to her. It's money. I want to spend it on the people that I love. But when you do that, it almost comes like you're taking away someone else's autonomy, because here it comes like Emily's like, no, I don't want these things, but yet you're buying it anyway because you want to give something to me. You want me to have the best. But when you do that, I feel really bad because you always have to dip in your pocket, and I can't treat you the way you treat me on it, So that was really something else. I really loved watching them grow through the series. So when it could be read as a standalone, because Journey's End could be read as a standalone, but you have to read from the beginning to actually see the growth, see how far they have both come as a couple, to really understand and appreciate the characters.
Is there anything else you want to say just about how much you love romance in these books?
Romance has always been, as I said, it's always been one of my favorite loves to read. I just love to cuddle up in my bed, warm cup of Earl Grey tea, and I'm reading my books. Not because I want to escape real life. It's because romance actually imitates life. It imitates what we all go through. And hey, why not? If you can't have chocolate and you can't eat all those fattening stuff, you can have romance. It relaxes you. And one thing with me, romance relaxes me to a point that is like, it's a big comfort to me when I read these books. Don't mind the fact that I'm arguing with my Kindle when I see they make some blunders. These two women, I want to just reach through and knock their heads together. Like, come on, y'all, behave.
Uh-huh.
I just love rom-coms, especially romantic comedies too. So as I said, romance injects so much comfort, humor, and a few tears in between because you're so happy to see people get together. But for me, it's just a form of comfort for me, for someone like me who lives in a society where it's illegal to be gay. You could actually live vicariously through these women. You could actually say, wow, I want to live like that. This is something I want for myself. And then reading romance, I realized it was possible. I could have this for myself, I could go out there and meet a woman and enjoy a life like this. And that has been a huge comfort to me. And I know it's a huge comfort to women in places where, they don't have much say, in places where being gay is illegal. And right now, we all need the comfort we could get because of what is going on too in America with all these shootings and stuff. People need a little comfort, and I think romance offers that. It offers you a place where you can actually read and relax into something that is not gonna probably have you hiding under your sheets. Although we know those books are lovely, don't get me wrong, I love a good thriller and a romance. But there's just something so special about romance on the whole. Just something. It just brings a smile to your face when you read it at times.
I totally agree with you. So that is all for this episode. Thank you so much, April, for joining me.
You're welcome, Tara. It was fun chatting with you.
So, I'm Tara. You've been listening to Les Do Books. Remember to email me at tara@thelesbianreview.com with your questions or comments. If you're an author who's interested in joining me on this show to talk about the lesfic you love or the trends that have you interested, please let me know. If you've enjoyed this episode, please check out the show notes where you'll find a Patreon link for the Lesbian Talk Show. Just a little bit would go a long way to cover hosting costs for Les Do Books and the other great shows on the channel that are all geared towards queer women. Also, don't forget to join us at our Facebook group, the Lesbian Review Book Club, so you can talk to us about anything you're reading and loving. You can also find me and all the other podcasters on the Lesbian Talk Show channel at our Facebook group, the Lesbian Talk Show Chat Group. To find this and many other great shows, all you need to do is search for the Lesbian Talk Show on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher.